How's it going, guys? My name is Cody, and I have another fight analysis video for you. This time on Federico Dall'Olio. All the videos are from the 2017 Dutch Lions Cup. I try to keep all the videos and the analysis to the same tournament, if at all possible. Now, I had a bit of a difficult time critiquing on this one. He's really skilled, he's very fast, and he uses both Italian and German techniques. He also stays in the bind quite a bit, which is always nice to see. So, let's begin.
This is Federico Dall'Olio. Keep track of him by the white socks.
Oh, Federico, very quick point in.
Oh, close to the blood flowing into the audience. What's so happy?
So we see Dall'Olio come in with a thrust, and it gets displaced. They both go high. Renson tries to get a pommel strike in, but Dall'Olio grabs the weapon and yanks it down. After a bit of a scuffle, he throws his arm around him, sending his glove flying off, and takes him to the ground. I think the punching was to establish that he had control of the grapple. I don't think it was with a whole lot of impact. Dall'Olio is really good at thrusting. One of the reasons I think he is so quick is his body mechanics. If you look closely, he is forward-weighted, and when he gets ready to launch an attack, he lifts his back heel slightly off the ground, kind of priming it. Another thrust, but I included this one to illustrate how quickly he reacts to the situation. Almost immediately after blocking a cut, he explodes forward with a thrust. Equally as impressive, Neiman goes into the middle deflecting guard and I think manages to escape Dall'Olio's point. The use of posta frontale is really the foundation of Dall'Olio's fencing. Most of the time he tries to initiate the exchange, but if he finds himself in the knock, he catches the cut on his quillions, remains in the bind, and retakes the momentum with a cut to his opponent's top right quadrant. He does this time and time again. On occasion, he will also thrust from the bind. He goes into posta longa and is slowly inching his way closer to his opponent. But if you look at his feet, he isn't forward-weighted. He isn't preparing for a lunge, he's preparing to retreat. When the opponent takes the bait, he falls back, creating distance, and plants the thrust right into his opponent's chest. His legs do get a little crossed up, though. These clips illustrate how he reads the fight. Notice how he isn't blindly throwing cuts and getting lots of doubles. If he does not have the momentum, he will play defensively until he sees an opportunity. He will take steps back and even lean back if necessary to avoid getting hit. Now, he lost both of these exchanges, so I don't think he fences as well from the knock. Additionally, in slow motion retrospect, I think he missed a good opportunity for a pommel strike. Say, instead of continuing to back up, if he let go with his offhand, grabbed his opponent by the elbow, and came down with the pommel. Would have been cool to see.
Commanding lead now. So, Dall'Olio going.
I like watching Dall'Olio's footwork. It's kinda unique. He jumps from right to left in an attempt at deception and covers ground quickly. Renson holds his ground, though, and Dall'Olio throws two Zwerchhaus before backing out. Good footwork, but an odd choice to throw a couple Zwerchhaus while in the close game.
I think he hit him on the head, but only one judge saw that. Oh! A parry and a right sphere.
This one was kinda cool. I thought Dall'Olio was going to thrust in, his point even goes up a little bit towards Rensen's head, but instead he throws an Unterhau and catches Rensen on the underside of his arm.
I thought I saw an ox thrust by Dall'Olio that narrowly missed, followed by a blow that hit. Hit on the leg by Dall'Olio. But parried
Good cover.
by Rensen. Out of the leg. May have landed flat.
Yeah, Dall'Olio really likes to hand and knee snipe. Now, I think this is a mostly valid technique, so long as there is sufficient contact, but it isn't the best kind of fencing in my opinion. He does them because they are effective. I would like to see them used less, but I think the solution to this isn't complaining about them or trying to punish people who use them. It's for practitioners to learn how to defend against them more effectively. Some positives: his cuts have sufficient contact, he backs out to prevent the after blow, and he does demonstrate how to deal with knee snipes. He smacked the blade to the ground, then simultaneously leaps forward and hits his opponent in the side of the head with the false edge. Pretty cool.
So to summarize, we saw some grappling, some good use of bind walk, as well as posta frontale, otherwise known as crone. He can fly in and out of exchanges by good use of footwalk, but we also saw a fair amount of hand sniping and knee sniping, which is never as satisfying to see as fencing that goes for deep targets like the head or chest. So let's see how this stacks up in the top 10 HEMA attributes. And remember that this is just my opinion, and if you want to express your opinion, go ahead and follow the link to a survey in the video description. Unique style of fencing, I'm going to go with a 3. He isn't really all that unique. I mean, he does mix the German and Italian techniques pretty well to make his own style, but so does everyone from what I can tell. There's a lot that can be said that is good from both schools, so it's not uncommon to see people take the best of both. So I'm not going to say that he's really all that unique in his fencing, which is okay. Tricks versus techniques. I'm going to give a 4 on this one. He doesn't really use a whole lot of tricks. He does do a lot of hand sniping and knee sniping, but he does it in a way that there is still sufficient contact and he has control of the weapon. He doesn't just throw them out carelessly. If it lands and is a successful cut, he is good at backing out to prevent the afterblow, and he is also good at regaining control of the weapon should it fail, which resembles more like technique to me than a trick. Historical techniques. I'm going to give him a 5, and it's kind of one of the reasons why his grade on unique style of fencing is a little bit low, but everything I saw him do could be traced back to one treatise or another, and as long as that remains true, I gotta give him a 5. Variety of techniques, I'm gonna give him a 4, and that's because he doesn't use a tremendous range of techniques, but he uses more than most. A lot of practitioners will only use 4 or 5, where maybe he uses 7 or 8. So it's not the entire playbook, but it's more than enough to justify a 4, in my opinion. It's a wide variety of techniques, but not yet all-encompassing. Speed and accuracy, I'm going to give a 4 as well. And that's because he is absolutely fast, so I'll give all the points for speed. He's very quick. But he does not have perfect accuracy. That's not to say that he's not accurate, he absolutely is. But I noticed several times when he was in a exchange, he was quick enough to get his defense up, go into posta frontale, and then when he would try to counterattack, he would have an opening, but sometimes he just wasn't quite accurate enough to land that hit, and his hit would miss. He would swing and it would go right on by. And this would end up leading to exchanges where he otherwise would have won if his accuracy was just a tiny bit more, but instead they end up throwing a couple cuts at each other, no one hits anything, and they separate with no points being achieved. Use of measure, I'm going to give him a 3, and that's because he kind of likes to fence in the middle ground. Not too close, not too far away. And I was a little surprised to see this for someone who has such a significant Fiore influence, shy away from intentionally entering the close game and throwing a pommel strike or two. I even saw him try to execute a few Zverhaus while in the close game during the finals. So, not a great use of measure, but he does utilize good footwork to maintain his ideal range. His ideal range might be that middle ground unless he's trying to snipe at someone's knee. So I will give him a few points for that, but not all of his techniques seem appropriate for the distance he finds himself in. Reading the fight, 5. And that's because I never really saw him double a whole lot. He usually takes the Volslog and continues to maintain that momentum until the end of the exchange. So he doesn't have to read the fight all that often when you control the momentum. But when he did find himself in the knock, he reacted appropriately. He would backpedal or, take just a couple steps back, lean back even. He reacted appropriately and tried to find an opening in which he could regain the momentum. So, considering he didn't misread the fight and double all the time, I'm going to give him a 5. That's not to say that he didn't double. These things do happen, but he didn't do it very often, and most of the time he read the fight well. Tippity-tap and Buffel. I'm going to give a 4, and I don't really think that he did either tippity-tap cuts or a Buffel, but he did a lot of those hand sniping and knee snipings, and all those cuts that he did execute in that fashion, I'd say had sufficient contact, so I wouldn't call it a tippity-tap, but fencing in that style is at least tippity-tap-esque, if you know what I'm kind of getting at. And so I just couldn't give him a 5 for this attribute when so many of his points were derived from hand and knee sniping. Self-preservation, 5. And that's because I didn't really see him take any unnecessary risk. Whenever he threw a cut, he did so in a way that was still protecting himself. If he found himself in the knock, he would think, posta frontale, and then fence and counterattack. He wasn't relying on his protective equipment to keep himself safe. He was relying on his skill in fencing to do that. So, self-preservation, I'm going to score very highly and give him a 5 on this. I did see some more risky type of fencing in the elimination pool, but that was really only when he had a commanding lead, and I think that was just kind of experimenting around with different techniques when he knew that he could afford to do so. Footwork and body mechanics, 4. And that's because his footwork is pretty great. He can fly in and fly out of an exchange pretty well. He tries to trick up his opponents by jumping to the left and then to the right. And that's actually a very unique aspect of his fencing. So his footwork is pretty good, but his body mechanics are not the best. It's not to say they're not good, but they're not the best. A lot of times his thrusts were well executed, but his cuts were really only cutting with his arms. He wasn't cutting with his whole body. For comparison, I'd say go check out the Jake Norwood fight analysis for a good example of body mechanics. And I think this is one of the reasons why Mikkel Rensen's cuts in the final kind of blew past his defenses, is he's not utilizing his entire body to block that cut. He's relying only on his arms to do so. And so a lot of the cuts just came on in and landed. So 41 out of 50 for Federico Dall'Olio. Not bad at all. I would consider anything 40 and above to be excellent fencing. And it makes my role in doing the fight analysis videos a little bit more challenging because I have to try to find something to critique. And for me, that was the hand sniping and the knee sniping. But please do let me know what you think. Take the survey. It's in the video description or on the Turul HEMA Facebook page. And I am listening to your HEMA practitioner suggestions. I saw a bunch of different ones, and I also saw a really big spike in views and subscribers, so hello to everyone who just joined this channel. It's always kind of exciting to see that sudden spike. And I will get working on the next video and get it uploaded as soon as I can. Vi sont là, Tostra.